Welcome to Baltimore and a new chapter for an in-state rivalry. Naval cadets have traveled in force to see their midshipmen and their electric quarterback, Ricky Dobbs. His multi-dimensional skills evoking memories of another Navy quarterback, Heisman winner Roger Staubach. But the Maryland Terrapins await, primed to launch their comeback season with a big win in the Charm City. The Battle of Maryland is about to begin. Only 26 miles separate Annapolis and College Park. But despite the proximity, these schools will play for only the second time since 1965. College football on ESPN, presented by Cars.com. Navy and Maryland. The Crab Bowl is reborn. Good afternoon, everybody. Mike Patrick, Craig James. It's great to have you with us. Playing for only the second time since 1965, Navy and Maryland, as these schools try to renew a rivalry that was once a staple. And this is a pretty competitive opening game for both.
And a very important game for Maryland. I mean, here's a football team. Frigian, a guy that used to play there, lost 10 games last season. They've got to turn it around. But he's hopeful that the 24 freshmen that he used last season will come in and have some experience and play well this year. Now, he's going against a Navy football team that has a Heisman candidate in Dobbs at quarterback, going to be an outstanding player. This is a football team that's right there on the verge of the top 25. So they're playing to get into the elite status.
And he is a legitimate Heisman candidate at quarterback. Navy hasn't had that since Roger Staubach won it all the way back in 1963. That was 47 years ago.
Wow, they call this guy the Magic Man. Look at this, 27 rushing touchdowns. That's a single season record by a quarterback. Very impressive. The thing that he does is that he puts pressure on defenses. We know they run the option, but they can throw the ball as well. Had over 1,000 passing yards last season. So the Magic Man, 10-3 as a starter, looking to make it 11.
Well, Maryland could use some magic. They're coming off one of the worst seasons they ever had, 2-10 a year ago. But don't discount this Maryland team because they've got some talent.
They've got speed. And when you've got speed, you have a chance to compete and win football games. Darrell Scott in the backfield, he's trying to get back to his 08 form when he had nearly 1,200 yards on the ground, was an all-ACC back. Torrey Smith on the right side. This guy here can fly. All-purpose yards, does it all. 183 a game last year. So they've got the players. Can the offensive line give them a chance?
Navy won 10 games in 2009. The midshipmen fired up to start the new season. It is anchors away in Baltimore.
We have one motivation. Just what White said. That's the only one we got. The love for your brother. The love for the guy to your right and to your left. Behind you, in front of you. To your brother that has gone on before. For your brother that is in Afghanistan. For your brother that's in Iraq. And for those that have come before us. That will endure all things. Our love for our brother overcomes all fear. Overcomes anything. And it will endure all things. That's all we think about as we go over there. Our love for our brother. Bring it up. Let's go.
How is that for power and inspiration? Coach Ken Neo Matalolo, the first Samoan-born head coach at any level of college football, and he knows how to stir them up. Boy, that was something. Maryland will receive, and they will put their all-conference performer Torrey Smith, number 82, as the deep man. He was all ACC a year ago when he averaged nearly 26 yards a return. And as Craig already told you, speed is the key for Maryland, and this kid has it. High and short. taken by one of the up men, Dexter McDougal, and McDougal with a nice return across the 40 to about the 42-yard line. And before the first snap, let's check in with Quint Kessenich.
Mike, there's no question that Maryland quarterback Jamar Robinson, he has the physical tools, strong arm, great feet, tremendous mobility. The question today, can he lead and remain cool? Can he make great decisions? Can he weave his way through a progression? Can he hit the check down man? Talking to Coach Ralph Regent, he said, try not to do too much today, Jamar. Try not to force it.
Great field position for Maryland, Quint. They start from the 41. Haroon Brown is the single setback. He is the big fullback. They spread the rest of the field. Robinson trying to get out of trouble and will scramble for a couple. He brings you that extra dimension. Started 2 a year ago, and we had a chance. Craig, he played pretty well.
Well, you mentioned he brings that added value there, that extra dimension, and those are his feet. And right there, he covered up his offensive line. Only 4 rushed, but it was a linebacker who came, and a lineman blew it up front. So instead of a negative play, Robinson's feet picks up 1 or 2.
Navy plays a traditional 3-4 defense. The 4 wide receivers on this second down and 8 play. And they'll give it off to Darrell Scott, and Scott, another speed burner, up to the 49. Take a look at the Maryland lineup, and we start up front because that's where it truly begins for Maryland. They were terrible a year ago. Inexperience and injuries. They couldn't throw, they couldn't pass because nobody up front could block.
Well, they had 7 different starting combinations on the offensive line last year, so that tells you right there. They've got some players. Coach Fridge believes he has 5 good ones. Not much depth, but they got to perform.
Third down and a long 2. Scott is the deep man. Robinson on the option to Scott. He's got the first down. This is another thing they want to do with Jamar Robinson. Get back to the option game. Last year, Chris Turner was the quarterback. Not nearly as mobile, far more of a pocket passer.
In this Navy defense today, you can already see they're being aggressive on the inside with the linebackers and their stuntmen. Now, the linebackers, they've got to step up and they have to play. This is an inexperienced group that has to play well. And in the secondary, on the corner, we just saw an idea of what they've got to do. They've got to get off blocks and make plays in the option game.
2 years ago, Scott was Maryland's first 1,000-yard rusher in almost a decade. Last year was a disaster for him as he gets the handoff on the delay, and Scott breaks 1 for 9 yards. Wyatt Middleton up from the safety to make the tackle.
Let's highlight R.J. Deal, the right tackle, number 76. He takes advantage of a Navy defender coming down inside and just collapses everything. Now, we mentioned Darrell Scott, nearly 1,200 yards in 08. He banged up last year, a couple of injuries. This is a premier runner in the ACC if he's healthy. And that's what they're counting on, is for him to stay healthy, and we'll talk about his fumble problems later on.
He averaged almost 95 yards a game in that Sterling season 2 years ago. Impressive opening drive so far for Maryland. Scott again. Just tripped up as he got inside the 30. A saving tackle by Wyatt Middleton. Just clipped him on the ankles.
Well, that was a patient run there by an experienced runner. But you look at the numbers you're mentioning there. The rush average is not bad, but obviously they don't have the explosive games out of him in 09 that they had in 8. And when you've got injuries as a running back, you're thinking, Mike. You think through a football game as opposed to running and playing the game.
4 carries, 30 yards. So far for Scott. They'll go with the double tight end set here, and tight end has been a problem for him with all sorts of injuries. There's the quarterback on the keeper. Down to the 10, inside the 9. Jamar Robinson.
Now, these are the special feet that you mentioned, so you're going to see here where they're going to come out and they're going to design this run, and they're going to go out and try to create an opportunity for Robinson, but the left guard pulls. You see Ganella, there he goes, leads the way up in the hole. Right now, Maryland's offensive line is getting into the white jerseys, and Navy's not getting away from the red guys.
David Meggett, number 8, checks in for the first time. Another player with speed. Meggett will get a carry straight up the gut to the 5. If the name is familiar, it should be. His dad, Dave, played in the NFL for nearly a decade and was a really good player.
Well, and Coach Friedgen was a good player at Maryland. This is the kind of start he needed for his football team. Coming off of 10 losses last year, they know they're better than that, Mike. They talked to us about this. They said, we want to prove we're not a 10-loss football team. We have talent here.
This would help get the bad taste out of their mouth, wouldn't it? Haroon Brown, the fullback, is on a wing. Scott is back in. They operate from the 5, 2nd and goal against the Navy 3-4. Scott trying to get to the outside and does. Touchdown. Haroon Brown, the 260-pound fullback, got him the corner. That was number 102 in the nation in total offense a year ago. A 59-yard drive capped by Darrell Scott. So far for Maryland, the offense looks just terrific. Darrell Scott did most of the heavy lifting on that opening drive and got the touchdown as Maryland takes a 7-0 lead. The Terps trying out a new kickoff man today as they will get Ricky Dobbs into the ball game in just a moment. Townsley will be kicking because Ferrara, the regular kickoff man, is out with a groin pull. Teach, the starting fullback a year ago at the beginning of the season, out to the 33-yard line.
Mike, I want to show you some patience here. Darrell Scott, what makes him special? You've got the block down, the fullback Haroon Bell. Now Brown makes his block out here. Most backs would just take it up and go. He's patient and then gets around the corner. That's an experienced ball carrier. That's allowing your blockers to do their job and using the entire football field.
Nice drive for Maryland, more than 4.5 minutes off the opening clock. And we had movement before the first play.
Offside by contact. Number 96, defense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
You cannot blame Maryland if they're a little anxious on defense. And there is Dobbs, the All-American candidate, the Heisman candidate, set a record a year ago, 27 rushing touchdowns. No quarterback ever ran for more in a single season. And he makes this offense go. They get the pitch quickly outside to Andre Byrd. This is a small Navy team, as it always is in comparison to other college football teams. The offensive line, a bunch of quick, athletic, cut blocking linemen.
These guys here, not only do they run the ball, but they must all be blockers. And no one individual runner in any game going in knows they're going to be the guy. It's whatever the defense gives them. That's the star.
The fullback is Murray, 47. Rushed for nearly 1,000 yards a year ago. Only started 7 games, and there he goes, straight up the middle to the Maryland 39. A.J. Francis may have said it best, Craig, when he said you can play 80 plays exactly the way you're supposed to. You miss 5, and they're gone. That's G.G. Green, and these are raw running backs. They call them A-backs or slot backs. Green and Byrd are not the guys they thought were going to carry the load this year. Dobbs on the pitch. Green still on his feet inside the 20, 15, 14-yard line. G.G. Green, who rushed for only 253 yards as a freshman, but has sub 4.5 speed.
Watch this. It doesn't need 4.5. 4.6 would work when you have discipline like this, Mike. Inside the last play, the fullback gets the ball. The linebacker, Wojak, ran away. He went to the outside. That sets up the outside play on the very next play. So you got to cover the whole field every play, Mike. It can't be just one play at a time.
This is an offense that is so hard to get ready for because so few teams run it. Green again. This time, Wojak went the right direction. And when he goes the right direction, he's going to be in on the tackle. He had 131 a year ago. That was with playing every game after practicing 1 day a week.
Well, early on, Wojak, that middle linebacker you're talking about, he has outside pitch responsibility, and he's flying to get out there. Somebody else has to have responsibility for the fullback inside then.
Fullback for a couple.
Not a bad atmosphere today, is it, Mike?
Oh, it's pretty good. Almost 70,000 people here in Baltimore for this one on a beautiful day. Summer will not go away here in September. Dobbs checking the sideline. Green is now flanked out on 3rd and long. They hope he'll turn out to be a good receiver. Dobbs caught and dragged down by Joe Volano. Maryland's defense stiffens, and they'll force a field goal try.
Joe Volano had a great camp. They called him a star in camp. He continues the pressure, gets past the guard, can't block him. It's one of the downsides. You know, you're asking those linemen to be run, 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 all of a sudden play with the dancing girls, and you can't do it.
32-yard field goal try for Joe Buckley out of Downingtown, Pennsylvania. And Buckley and Navy come up empty. Been all Maryland first quarter, hasn't it? The Terps on top 7-0. Maryland back to action from its own 20-yard line. Meggett is in at tailback behind the big fullback Haroon Brown, and Meggett, he can break it. 40. Inside the 20 to 15-yard line. Quasi Mitchell saved the touchdown, but 67 yards.
Mike, Navy came out with a different formation, a 3-4 defense to start this time here. 3 down linemen, 4 linebacker look, and they still can't come off of the blocks. Maryland's offensive line identifying blocks to be made and dominating Navy's defense.
And if anybody's left standing, Haroon Brown at 260 just goes in and cleans up. Scott will come back in the ball game. And now they go empty with Robinson. And Robinson lost his footing, or he had a chance to go inside the 10 to about the 9. Furstenberg, the tight end, threw a good block for him. And so far, everything Maryland has tried has worked against that Navy defense that is replacing 4 linebackers. That is the key to this entire 3-4 setup, and all 4 guys are new.
No, and you know what? This red zone defense at Navy last year was outstanding. Their theme, their motto is win the one-on-one matchups so that you can stop them in the red zone.
Meggett. Nice cut to get outside, but nice tackle by Middleton, who's already made 3 stops here in the first quarter.
That mentality of being able to stop someone in the red zone has to be with all of your players. And that winning the one-on-one, right now they can't. They're losing each individual battle along the line of scrimmage.
Laquan Williams, number 3, Kerry Boykins, number 13, come in as wide receivers for the Terps. Torrey Smith Their most dangerous receiver flanks out to the left. Meggett is the running back next to Robinson. 3rd and long. Robinson sets in the pocket and was intended for Smith, and a flag down late. He may have been bumped. Torrey Smith running a crossing pattern. Robinson being very patient and waited for him. And
Pass interference. Defense, number 8. The ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
Wyatt Middleton got there about a step early.
Well, he's the captain, too. He makes a lot of plays for this defense and for this football team. Just kind of right as the ball got to Smith, went through the back of the receiver.
And, of course, he doesn't know it at the time. That pass was so off target it wouldn't have been complete anyway.
And he would have been short of the first down.
Yes.
Come on.
Maryland asked for a timeout with 4 minutes and 59 seconds to go in the first quarter. Terps are already up 7-0, and they have a 1st and goal after the penalty. Tonight you can catch a season-defining game for 2 top 10 teams. Kellen Moore leads number 3 Boise State against Ryan Williams and number 10 Virginia Tech. The All-State kickoff in the Capitol is part of Dick's Sporting Goods Kickoff Week on ESPN tonight at 8 Eastern. I've got the feeling if Boise State wins that ball game, partner, they're going to run the table.
Well, it's going to create a great debate throughout the football season, week in and week out. Why are they where they're at? So if that's the case, Mike, in my opinion, they've got to dominate and look really good tonight. Not just win the game, but really impressive.
James Franklin, the assistant head coach, the offensive coordinator, and the coach in waiting. Guaranteed a huge bonus or the Maryland head coaching job by 2012. Johnson cut down again by that man Middleton. No wonder they voted him the captain. He makes every tackle. Let's check in with Quint.
Mike, I thought it was interesting. Maryland offensive coordinator James Franklin telling us that the Terps they wanted to control the ball, basically make every possession count, because against Navy you don't know when you're going to get the ball back. They have not thrown a pass yet.
Why throw the ball when you can run it, right? Right, Quinn?
The old Woody Hayes philosophy. Second and goal. Meggett. Touchdown, Maryland. They may never throw the ball. So both tailbacks have an opening quarter touchdown to show for their efforts. David Meggett, 3 yards out.
Way to go, baby. Way to go, baby.
And the point after by Travis Balls, who is doing both the punting and the place kicking today. Knocks it through. And Maryland is on top, 14-0.
You got David Meggett, but he's little and gets beneath the pads. You have no way of leveraging the guy and stopping him.
4:15 to go in the first quarter, and look at this. Maryland on top of Navy, 14-0. The midshipmen came in favored. Maryland coming off a 2-10 season, but we told you they have skill players and speed galore. Alexander Teach with a seam up the middle, still on his feet across the 35 to the 36-yard line. Quint Kessenich working the sidelines for us. Quint, what do you have?
Mike, talking to Ricky Dobbs during pregame, he said he's constantly striving for perfection. He wants to improve the mental part of his game. When he's talking about that, he meant the reads. Every play, in less than a second, he's got to make all sorts of decisions, whether to give, what he said, pull or pitch. He said, don't make assumptions based on pre-snap alignment. I've got to trust my intuition and take what the defense gives me.
But it takes time for that to happen, and experience and snaps, which is what he has.
Dobbs looking over to the sideline to get the call. They love to see what the defense is going to do, how they react to that little initial motion. Dobbs on the keeper, not much.
All right, little EA Sports action this week. The thing that I like about Dobbs is he has the power to break tackles. He's got the big play ability to take it the distance. And he's also got a strong arm. Now, this strong arm works best when they're ahead, but it's definitely an asset that he can use in a football game.
Green 21 and Andre Bird 20 are going to get the bulk of the work at those slot back spots. And Vince Murray has already shown you what he can do as a fullback. And Murray gets the toss. Be a couple of yards shy of a first down. Stopped by Kenny Tate, the free safety number 6 who came up from the secondary.
They don't have a lot of experience in that secondary. 3 new starters at Maryland. Only Cameron Chisholm is the experienced returning starter. So they too over there are trying to get it together and figure out who they are in the secondary.
3rd and a couple. Navy would like to sustain a drive here, down 2 touchdowns, and Maryland jumps offside, it appeared. Looked like A.J. Francis, who was their all-conference defensive lineman.
Offside. Defense number 96 into the neutral zone, causing the player to react. 5-yard penalty.
Francis, the only returning starter along that forward wall. They're very strong at linebacker, probably as good a group as there is in the entire Atlantic Coast Conference, led by Wojak in the middle. Pass complete to the Maryland 45-yard line. Perez makes the tackle on Green. G.G. Green with his first catch. And they need to find somebody who can catch the ball out of the backfield. Marcus Curry was dismissed from the academy. He was going to be the guy who was going to be the main receiver out of the slot. Dobbs calling out the play he wants. 2nd and 4. Dobbs on the option, lost his footing, still got a couple of yards. Craig, what is he looking for when they do that little fake motion and then stop and he looks to the sideline? Are they looking for somebody to tip what they want to do?
First of all, the most important thing to know about this is that the defense has to disrupt the timing of the offense. You saw the defensive end get up the field, the little stumble there by Dobbs, right? That took him out of his rhythm. We'll talk more about that as the game progresses.
Howell and Stukel, 33 and 17 respectively, the 2 new slot backs. Third and 2 for Dobbs. He'll keep it and dive straight ahead. Should have the first down just shy of the 40-yard line.
So to continue on with that thought, though, when I have seen Georgia Tech or Navy, these triple option offenses stop, it usually happens over the guards. The defensive tackles are powerful. They get into the backfield and they disrupt it. They make the quarterback bow so his timing is off. Clemson last year, they figured it out in the second half against Georgia Tech. I mean, if you can push them back, you got a chance.
And this is the same offense run by Georgia Tech because Paul Johnson, the head coach there, was the head coach at Navy and resurrected this program. Another 3 for the fullback Vince Murray.
Well, you know, the defensive coordinator from Maryland, Don Brown, he does have experience. He was the head coach at UMass against Navy in 06. They lost that game 21-20, but they did create 4 turnovers. He also went against Paul Johnson's offense in '98 when he was at Georgia Southern, and he won that game, and he had 7 turnovers defensively against that triple option offense. So he knows how to coach against it.
Certainly has the heritage, doesn't he? Dobbs, G.G. Green, flag is down. Green taken by Wojak at the 24-yard line. We'll check the penalty. Navy led the nation in fewest penalties last year.
Offside. Defense, number 15. The penalty is declined. First down.
A.J. Francis said they just never screw up, and that comes with serving our country. They have it driven into them. They're not allowed to make a mistake, and they don't.
Well, 3.4 a game, and you know they're trying to cut that in half.
Clock running down, and they will not get the play off as the first quarter comes to an end at M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore, home of the Ravens. Today, it's Maryland and Navy. Start of the second quarter here in Baltimore. Navy on the march, down 14-0. Dobbs on the option to Bird. Room to run. Inside the 10, fumble the football. No signal yet. It is Navy football. The ball went out of bounds. Maryland had a shot at it.
Well, Demetrius Hartsfield was a freshman All-American, and they expect huge things out of him. Don't worry, get on the football. You get a chance against Navy's offense to turn the football over and get it your way, you better do it.
Well, keep in mind, not only are they facing a Navy offense that is tough to play against, this is a Maryland defense that allowed better than 31 points a game last year, which was 100th in the country.
And Navy at number 7 in fewest turnovers last year with 14 the entire season.
Dobbs calling out the play. Bird on the quick toss. Touchdown. Boy, he's got a burst, doesn't he? There's some guys on both sides of the ball that can run.
Maryland's defense got caught looking inside. And that was the one thing Don Brown, their defensive coordinator, said. He goes, we can't get caught looking in the backfield. They were looking in the backfield and then enjoying a very fast, speedy touchdown run.
They may be reviewing whether he got into the end zone or not. Could not hear the official's announcement, but obviously they are going to the replay monitor. A nice block on that play, too, by Gigi Green at 5'8", 175, soaking wet. And he cleaned somebody out in the corner.
Which then blocked 2 other guys who were trailing. So it was like 1 on 3.
Did Bird stay in bounds, apparently, is the question. And he did.
Yeah. Like who's questioning that?
Well, not me. Don't look over here. It was obviously a tough angle for somebody, and they have quickly resolved it.
Good job.
After further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. Touchdown.
Never hurts to check, Craig. Never hurts to check.
Momentum, the pace of the game.
Joe Buckley will try for the point after he has missed a field goal in this game. And Navy gets on the board to cut the lead in half.
You'll hear defensive coaches say, don't lose your leverage. There was no leverage. Everything was blocked to the inside.
Back to Baltimore on a beautiful Labor Day afternoon. Maryland and Navy meeting for only the second time since 1965. And Navy on the short end of a 14-7 score. Torrey Smith is deep. for Teague's kick. Very high, very short. Again, taken by an upman, Dexter McDougal.
All right, little Castrol GTX protection plan here. Alex Wojak in the middle. He's your middle linebacker. He's got to get a little more speed and get to the outside. And we're talking about the leverage. Look here, you've got 2 blocks taking place by a lineman on the inside. You've got a wall off by a lineman, by a wide receiver on 3 guys. In effect, you lose your leverage by your corner. Get outside, push the play back inside. You can't get sucked into the middle of the field.
Navy has barely slowed down Maryland, let alone stopped the Terrapins. That was Jarrell Scott. Terps have already rushed for 100 yards here in the first half on 14 carries.
It sure takes the pressure off Jamar Robinson as a quarterback, not having to throw the football. Last year, when he did play, 85 straight passes without an interception. Doesn't make a lot of mistakes.
Robinson gliding down the sideline inside the Navy 30-yard line. Jared Marks, big number 91, chased him down, but it's a gain of 27 yards.
You know what? Number 31, Jerry Hauberger, comes to the inside, and what I liked about the play was Robinson, when he got out there, did you notice he had the run pass option? You see what he said? No, I've got a lot of ground. Move, let's go, turn into a blocker, let's go. Down the field and uses his legs.
The Terps have already shown big playability with that offense. Quarterback and running back. Scott on the delay. And I'll tell you what, Craig, that much maligned offensive line, and they deserved it a year ago because they were awful. They are really opening up holes in this line.
They've got about a 20-pound per man average gain on Navy's defenders. They're fitting on their pads. The thing that's impressing me is not are they just fitting, but they're finding the right guy. They're smart. They're well coached. Ralph Friedgen used to be an O-line guy, right? He knows how to coach him up. He knows how to assist them. Yeah. He's a smart guy. He's got his 5 playing. Now he's trying to look for some depth.
They are a lot leaner than they were a year ago. They have to stay healthy. There's not a whole lot of depth there. Robinson guns it down the middle, and it's intercepted, picked off by Emmett Merchant. Merchant back across to 30. And Robinson would like to have that one back.
I tell you who'd like to have it back. James Franklin, offensive coordinator. Why are you calling that play? You're going down the field, you're smashing them in the mouth, you're controlling the line of scrimmage, and you put your quarterback in a position to make a mistake. Now, Robinson sets, he looks, he gets drilled, but a nice job by Navy's secondary of staying back, being smart, and making a play, turning the ball over.
Tyler Simmons, number 54, was the guy who put his helmet right in his chest. Well, Maryland was driving for another score, and Navy ends up with it. And you just can't give these guys extra opportunities. As Quint said earlier, you give them the football, you never know when you're going to get it back. It might be 8 minutes from now.
You knew being 14-0 down, Navy wasn't going to panic.
Oh, no. I don't think that's in their vocabulary. Regroup, perhaps? Yeah. Panic? Dobbs on the toss. Bird hit this time and taken down. Antoine Perez, who is the best they have in the secondary. Number 2 made a solid tackle.
Well, he's a big hitter back there as well. Now, we told you that 3 of those 4 in the secondary are new. And it takes time to set your pass, to really know your responsibilities. You start a season out against a team that makes you be responsible. So it's a challenge for everybody.
Perez started his career at Southern California, then transferred to Maryland. Clock ticking, 11:24 first half. Dobbs gives it to his fullback, and Murray going nowhere on this one.
Now, it's one of those games where defensive coordinator Don Brown said, you know, I have to remind my guys all the time, stay the course. It might be 0, 1 yard gain, 2 yard gain, 2 yard gain, and then you let your guard down and you go for 50. You've got to play every snap.
Dobbs on the keeper. Dives forward very close to the sticks. It depends on the mark. The near side official is giving him about a half more yard than the far side official. And they will go with the near side official, and it's a first down. Navy with a first down at the Maryland 46. The pace of this offense is something that can also wear on a defense. Especially the linemen, you're always down in that stance. Dobbs on the pitch. Bird caught it on the second try. Speaking of not panicking.
Oh, there is, I still have nightmares as a former running back about that kind of deal. Where your eyes go off the field and they're looking up in the air for a fumbled pitch, and you know you might get hit right in the kisser.
Boy, you know somebody's coming with evil intentions.
That's great focus.
Howell and Stukel, the second wave of slot backs, are in. Stukel 17, Howell 33. And it's the fullback for about 6. Ken Neo-Matalolo said all the guys are about equal. They're 5'7", 175 pounds. I know one thing. I walk into a meeting room, everybody's short. But they can play.
There's no question they can play. And I said this at the top of the broadcast. I think they're playing to try to get into the top 25. That's how respected they are.
I think based on what they did last year, and with having Dobbs back and a lot of other guys back, I thought they deserved to be in the preseason top 25. Stukel. Nice cut. Stukel down to the 32. Kenny Tate had to make the stop.
You just follow these pitch backs today. You watch it with impressiveness how fast they get to the corner. They're not going lollygagging around there. Watch how fast that the back gets around the corner and up the field. You know, it's not stretching it out and then, you know, chop, 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 and then going downfield. Turn the corner and go.
Maryland's defensive secondary getting a workout. Craig, you noticed almost every tackle is either a corner or a safety. That means they're getting deep in that secondary.
Not good if you're on defense.
What a day to go to the Inner Harbor here in Baltimore. Just beautiful. Mid-80s, sunshine, no humidity. But I'd rather be here.
It's a good day. I had crab cakes for breakfast, crab cakes for lunch, crab cakes for pregame.
Murray, the fullback, behind Ricky Dobbs. Stukel on the toss. This time, he's wrapped up in a hurry. Demetrius Hartsfield, the linebacker, got him, and we'll check in with Quinn.
Mike, during that last timeout, Ken Neo-Matalolo fired up, screaming at his guys. They are getting tired. To take care of the football, that's the only way they can stop us.
I imagine they're getting tired. They've already given up 137 yards rushing for this Navy triple option attack. 2nd and 9. Dobbs to throw, only the second time today. Right down the middle, overthrown. He had John Howell wide open, and he missed him. When you get those opportunities, Craig, you've got to hit those.
It's arc block, and all of a sudden you don't block the linebacker and you go right down the middle of the field. That Ricky Dobbs has to make those plays if he's going to be a Heisman Trophy candidate. A Heisman guy, a candidate for the trophy, makes that play.
Hey, he's got to make those plays if they're going to win this game.
Yep.
You set him up, you set him up, you set him up. You better make it pay off. 3rd and long. What will Maryland do? They run the option, and Maryland stuffs it. Villano again. Another solid tackle. Navy goes for it an awful lot on 4th down with this offense.
Wow. I'm telling you, hats off to 72 Villano. He got blocked to the ground, got up, and made the play.
4th down and long. They're trying to draw him off, or are they going to run a play? And they were trying to sucker Maryland into coming across, and it didn't work. Good discipline by that Terps defense. Well, are you ready for some football? Monday night kicks off next week with a doubleheader. First at 7 Eastern, Ray Rice and the Ravens take on Mark Sanchez and the Jets, who are only a win away from the Super Bowl a season ago. Then at 10:15, Phillip Rivers and the Chargers against Matt Castle and the Chiefs. Monday Night Football next week on ESPN. Our coverage starts at 5 with Monday Night Countdown served by Applebee's.
I think I saw where Matt Leinart was picked up by the Houston Texans.
Yes.
How about that? Is that not crazy? I mean, Heisman Trophy guy, thought had a lot of promise, just didn't fit, obviously, with
Well,
Arizona.
you have to do your job.
Yeah.
You know, you can't just assume that because you're a high draft choice, things are going to be handed to you and things are going to work. And he had a rocky career there in Arizona. And they have settled on Anderson. Navy comes out to go for it after the timeout. 4th and 8. They run the option. Dobbs, Stuckel. Stuckel has the 1st down. That's the beauty of that offense. 4th and 8, yeah, it's a running down.
Well, you know, when you have that type of offense that can do that with the discipline of your blocks, left tackle Battaglia, what he does when he gets up the field, look at 61. That cuts off the pursuit. That allowed the 1st down to occur. Your left tackle, your star player on that offensive line.
They're down at the 20. Bird and Green, the running backs again. 12th play of the drive coming. And they've stopped the clock at the 7:04 mark. Apparently they have a problem with the play clock.
Please reset the play clock. The game and play clock will start on my signal.
Maryland scored the first 2 touchdowns to take a 14-0 lead, and Navy has cut it in half, and they're on the verge of tying it up here. Vince Murray. And since he broke loose early a couple of times, Maryland has done a lot better job in covering up the fullback.
Well, the triple option starts and ends with the fullback. It starts right there. He had 971 yards last year. You can't fall asleep defensively.
No, sir.
He is used to 1 yard, 1 yard, 1 yard. He's 8 for 36 right now. But I'm telling you, it could just as soon happen to be 25.
Dobbs reverse pivot toss to Bird. Boy, these little backs, 5'8", maybe 180 pounds if they've got an anvil in their pocket. They're strong. They get hit. They don't go down right away. They drag guys.
Doug Furman, 82, wide receiver, came inside and blocked. They're walling off the pursuit. Maryland is slow from the middle of the field to the outside. They're not getting to the perimeter. And at some point, they're going to have to stop using those eyes so much and use their feet.
I was just going to say that can't be athletic ability because the athletes at linebacker are really good, but they're thinking too much, and it's costing them. If you have to think rather than react, you lose a step, and that step's enough to give a guy an angle.
Well, you know, that Navy defense right now is resting over there, right? Making some adjustments.
Alexander Teach makes his appearance at fullback. Started the first 5 a year ago. He's number 39.
That's just bothersome for a defense. They're coming, no, they're not. They're coming, no, they're not.
Dobbs, Stukel. That time Dexter McDougal got outside, made a solid tackle.
And Alex Wojak, 33 middle linebacker. You know, he's got to get out there. One of only 2 players returning in college football from last year who had 130 plus tackles. You know, he's got to be more active on the outside.
This drive has already eaten 7.5 minutes off the clock. 63 yards. They've run 15 plays. Fullback to the goal line. Alexander Teach out of Conroe, Texas. He started the first 5. Murray started the rest. And Teach has been unable to get his job back, even though he is a quality running back.
Now, you made the point earlier. This offense is designed to have a bunch of good quality backs. No one star.
Yep. So with a heavy formation. Dobbs lost the ball. Maryland has it. Perez, after Moten came over the top and knocked it loose. What a play by the Terps defense.
Moten goes Superman. Led the team in tackles for loss last year with 9 and sacks with 6. Watch number 1 go flying over. Makes the play in the backfield. Ricky Dobbs had no idea Superman Moten was coming through the air.
That's an all or nothing, isn't it?
Nice job, Maryland's defense.
So Navy has the ball for 7.5 minutes. It comes up with absolutely nothing. Fumbling at the 1. Robinson under center. He'll start from his own 6. Megan. Just back to the line of scrimmage.
Navy's defensive front 7 must change it up. They've got to get off blocks. They haven't done that the entire game, and it's really hurt them against the run.
And they are used to playing against guys that outweigh them 30, 40, 50 pounds. They do it with leverage, angles, and quickness. Meggett fought off the first tackle, picked up a couple. Maryland being conservative right now.
But a better blanket the defense played those last 2. It was the linemen there, linebackers filling up. You had a nice blanket. I mean, they've been playing with a screen door and a submarine defense to this point.
That's an allusion to Navy. That's good.
Like that. It's those crab cakes kicking in.
3rd and long. Robinson wants to throw. Now he takes off. And stops shy of the first down.
Mike, you made reference that Navy long 7+ minute deal. No points, nothing to show for it. Here's what they had to show for it. A fresh defensive line.
Good point. And presumably a tired Maryland defense is going to have to go right back on the field. This will be our first punt of the ball game with 2:29 to go in the half. Travis Baltz will kick out of his end zone to Gary Myers. Baltz, number 5 in Maryland history, averaging better than 41 yards a kick, and hits a cannon shot on this one. The loose ball Looked like Navy got it back, but that ball was free for a long, long time. 60 yards in the air off the foot of Travis Baltz. Woo.
You can't win the bottom of a pile when you're dealing with potential Navy SEALs. You're not going to outthink those guys on the bottom of a pile, I promise you.
If you ever get the chance to come to Baltimore, stop by the National Aquarium. It was opened in 1981. It's averaged 1.5 million visitors over the last decade. Navy football after the muff punt that fortunately for the midshipmen they got back at their own 32-yard line. Dobbs has not had a big game yet. Gives to the fullback. They'll get about 4. We have 2 minutes and 13 seconds to go in the first half. And if you just joined us, the forward pass has been outlawed in college football for this game only.
It's Labor Day. They're just taking a break. Take a break away from the passing game, the forward pass today. But it's been a fun game to watch. I mean, there's a lot of discipline required in this ball game. I mean, Maryland's offense comes out 16, first plays they had, 179 yards and a touchdown. Their last 4 plays, interception, 3 and out. So, you know, the discipline that it takes to make adjustments and all, that's what we're seeing in this ball game.
And it is a game of adjustments, and we have an injured player down. One of the Navy guys is down. We'll check on him in a second. But 3 passes in a modern-day college football game in the first half. One was intercepted.
And it's a pretty day.
Yeah, it is hardly weather-related. While we have a chance, we're going to check in with Reese Davis. Reese, how are you?
How are you doing, Mike? Coming up on the Bud Light Halftime Report, Lou Holtz and Mark May will join me as we look ahead to the marquee game of the weekend. Boise State and Virginia Tech tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern on ESPN. We'll also chat with Brian Kelly, the Notre Dame coach, a win under his belt, now looking ahead to the showdown with Michigan this weekend. And some NFL moves just in time for the regular season. Darrelle Revis is back. Wonder if he really just wanted to miss camp all along. See you in a bit.
That's the way to do it. You sign just in time so you don't have to go through any of those camp workouts. And that is Mike Shoup, one of the wide receivers, a forgotten position in the Navy offense. He is a starter along with Greg Jones. They each had 6 catches a year ago. Count them. 2nd and 6 for Navy. Dobbs almost suffered another pick as Chisholm was there covering Jones. And Dobbs has not been sharp when he's tried to throw the ball so far.
And he threw against Chisholm, the experienced returning starter in that secondary. And you saw Chisholm go to the ball, didn't you? And the receiver stood there flat-footed, waiting on the football to get there.
Dobbs appeared to throw that one very wide and off his wrong foot and off balance. Stopped the clock with 1:48 to go in the half and brings up a 3rd and 6. Straight up the middle goes Murray. Inside the 40-yard line. You cannot forget about the fullback. That one, he ripped off 25 yards.
Now, we talk about 2 yards, no yards, 1 yard, but a fullback is going to eventually get there. When he gets to the line of scrimmage, let's see what happens. Okay, block here, linebacker middle, he's gone to the outside responsibility. I mean, that's just, they whipped him.
Teach will come in to give Murray a break. Gain of a couple on that. The clock continues to run. 1:18 and counting. This is not your typical quick strike offense because they don't throw, but they can do it in a hurry on the ground.
They tied with Wisconsin last year, time of possession, top in the nation, 33 minutes and 55 seconds a game. They're used to grinding it out.
Dobbs against the blitz. Hangs one up. Caught. Was he in bounds? Yes. G.G. Green That ball just floated downfield for 26 yards.
How about G.G. Green, though, coming out of the backfield, getting up the field? Watch his left foot. Catch. Beautiful execution.
Dexter McDougal looked like he was just frozen. And now they're going to take a look at this.
That's a catch.
Yes, it was. That was a pretty throw by Dobbs. Now they'll take a look at the monitor.
Yes, and you know what? You saw Dobbs step up into the pocket. You know, we've seen Navy quarterbacks in the past try to throw the football, and it didn't look right. You know, it looked like an option quarterback. I mean, that looked like a passer.
Yes, it did. And the result looked like a passer.
I mean, there has to be indisputable video evidence to overturn that, and I don't see it.
After further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. First down.
Well, they questioned 2 calls today and confirmed both of them, and rightfully so.
And quickly, too, man.
And quickly.
Nice job. 37 seconds on the review there. I like that. Man, the officiating crew, Ed Cunningham, our colleague, he was an official during the spring, and we announced the Oregon game, of which Ed was an official in, and I cracked up watching him. But, you know, we all learned there's a lot of appreciation for what they do. There just needs to be better communication between the field and the viewers so we know what they're trying to accomplish.
50 seconds to go in the half. 1st and 10 Navy at the Maryland 16. Midshipman down by a touchdown. Teach. Couple of yards, nothing more. Navy's been in the red zone 4 times. Every time they've had the ball, and they only have 1 touchdown to show for it. Had a fumble at the 1, a missed field goal.
Number 1, Adrian Moten went Superman on him the last time to force that fumble.
Dobbs kept it himself, gets to the 7.
I like that. That time there, Alex Wojak, the middle linebacker, changed responsibilities. He went inside hard, had somebody else responsible for the outside corner. So, good job defensively.
We've got 12 seconds to go in the half. Back to Baltimore in a minute. After the fight, Shakur and Iron Mike. Well, we'll get back to that in a second as Navy's ready to snap the ball. And here's Dobbs on the roll. Cuts back, still on his feet. Still on his feet, down to the 2, the ball came loose. 1 second on the clock. Navy does not have a timeout. As soon as they mark the ball ready for play, the half is over. And it's over. The clock starts on the referee's signal. And Navy never had a chance to snap the ball with 1 second on the clock. So Navy 4 times in the red zone. 2 fumbles and a missed field goal, 1 touchdown. Quint Kessenich working the sideline. Quint?
Coach, you got off to a nice start, 14-0. What's going through your mind when your offense is marching up and down the field?
Well, you know, we had some confusion on the interception. Because every time you throw an interception in the red zone, it kills you. We've got fumbles and we're not getting. We got to take advantage of Navy's mistakes. We're letting them get away with things. You know, they were very good. They run the option well. Our kids are going to have to get used to it. You know,
how can you get your defense off the field?
Well, we got to play better than what we're playing right now. You know, we're not playing our responsibilities. We got to do a better job of executing our defense. I always think it's an adjustment playing these guys. We'll be better in the second half.
That last play, Ricky Dobbs gets tackled. You're looking up at the clock. What's going through your mind?
I was waiting for that 1 second to go away, you know.
Thanks, Coach.
Ralph Friedgen trying to resurrect the Maryland football program, and there is a confrontation with the Navy coaches and the officials. And Ken Neo-Matalolo was livid with the fact that he only had 1 second left and didn't get to use it to score at halftime. 14-7 Maryland will send you to Reese Davis and the Bud Light halftime report.
Wrap your arm around me, American dream. Can you
as Maryland and Navy renew their rivalry for only the second time since 1965, and Maryland with a 14-7 first half lead. Navy will get the ball to start the third quarter. Alexander Teach deep for Ted Townsley's kick. Teach from the 6 has the seam. Teach out near the 40-yard line. Maybe the difference in this first half, the fact that Navy was inside the red zone 4 times and came away with only 7 points.
Well, the thing that strikes me about the first half is in order to have a rivalry, you have to have passion. These two schools are heated up in this game. And so you've got a Maryland defense flying to the ball. They've created opportunities for their football team. You know, Navy only turned it over 14 times all of last year. There's another one.
They have put it on the ground and cost themselves a couple of touchdowns, perhaps.
Well, all of these miscues are a result of some great effort, I think, by Maryland's team. Now, that right there, there's a great example of Moten going over the top, down on the goal line, towards the end of the second quarter, right before halftime. Effort to the football, helmets on the football, and that's that passion, that rivalry that I was trying to talk about.
And Coach Neo Matalolo later accepted the explanation from the referee after that heated exchange. And Quint has more on that. Quint?
I spoke to a much more subdued Ken Niumatalolo coming out of the locker room. He said, we're calm, we're good. He said basically his emotions just came to the surface and he lost it there. It was a called pass play. He said that Ricky Dobbs should have thrown the ball out of the back of the end zone, and in hindsight he wrapped it all up saying we left too many points on the field in that first half.
Well, Quint, the reason that clock kept running was because of the fumble. Maybe he wasn't sure that it was fumbled in the first place, and so by the time they stopped the clock, there was only 1 second left to go. There's a flag down on this play at the 48-yard line, and if there's only 1 second, once the official marks the ball ready for play.
Shot block. Number 68, offense. 15-yard penalty. Third down.
John Dowd has been called for a chop block. Now here's where they meet at the beginning of the third quarter. If you didn't know it was a fumble, you would question why the clock continued to run. But that was the reason, and you're down to 1 second, you're never going to get that next play off.
I don't think anybody faults his passion, and respects the way he handled himself when he heard the explanation from the referee.
Straight up the middle, Stukel to the 40. They can just break one at any time, one of 5 or 6 guys. That was 27 yards on 3rd and long.
Okay, now, the play before, we had Wojak doing an outstanding job of stopping the exterior. 33 on the inside this time. Outruns the play. He's looking at the blocker. Had no idea the football had been handed off to the fullback inside.
That was Murray, not Stukel. And they've got the first down, and then Dobbs knocked back. And it's that Villano guy again who's made 3 big plays inside.
Now, that was an interesting play there, Mike. Did you notice that Dobbs did the fake to Casper? Somebody wasn't there for the fake. Invisible fullback.
Yeah, it helps if there's somebody there to carry it out.
But this is the discipline required to play Navy. You've got them in a hole, the chop block, it's long distance, and they come out and make a play with a fullback.
3rd and 17, and they just busted it for 27. Dobbs, keeper, inside the 30 to the 29. It'll be a first down midshipment. Antoine Perez tripped him up at the last moment.
Andre Bird, number 20, the slot back, all 5'7", 153 pounds of him, just putting a woodshed on the corner there. Beautiful blocking, and again, it just takes attitude and effort to be a good blocker.
Well, if you're 5'7", 153 willing, this is about the only thing you got left. Incomplete, intended for Bird. At least it looked like it was Bird. Doug Furman, number 82, was back in the corner of the end zone, but it was between either one of those receivers.
You know why I like that call? They're in 4-down territory here anyway, right? So on first down, Steve, you get a good one. Because they're going to, you know what, you're going to run the ball now 3 times for your first down.
They're in 4-down territory almost everywhere. Green is out as a flanker, number 21. So they spread the field. Dobbs rolls that way and throws complete to G.G. Green.
What is that, the 4th pass completion today? All of those by Navy.
Isn't that amazing?
3 in a row.
Maryland players down. Looks like Perez. It's out of Westfield Grove, New Jersey, a 6'1", 210-pound senior. And they will attend to him. He is the best in their secondary. Tonight you can catch a season-defining game for 2 top 10 teams as Kellen Moore leads number 3 Boise State against number 10 Virginia Tech. The All-State kickoff in the Capitol, part of Dick's Sporting Goods kickoff week on ESPN tonight at 8 Eastern. College football available on TV, online, and on your phone. Go to ESPN.com for more information. These games are double-edged swords. You know, what a short trip. I mean, after this game, we can just go down 95 to the Beltway and go over to FedEx Field in Landover and see this one. It starts at 8 o'clock. This is normally the home of the Redskins. We're at the home of the Baltimore Ravens this afternoon.
Well, you know, I was offered the opportunity to get on the DirecTV bus, go over to that game, stay on the bus and go to Virginia Tech tomorrow, do a little report. Go down to the Wednesday game that I've got for Thursday night, Auburn at Mississippi State, and then take the bus to you and our game on Oregon at Tennessee next Saturday night.
Have a nice time.
I declined.
Did you?
Yes. I figured I'd smell pretty good by the time I got to Saturday in Knoxville.
Point well taken. 3rd and 3. Teach needed to get inside the 19, and looks like he just made it. Good fullback combination between Teach and Murray.
At some point, Navy's going to have to finish plays and drives off, like Niamakaloto said. You know, they've got to come away with points. Coach Fridgen's been very fortunate that he's had outstanding play and big plays from his defense to keep it down.
Well, this is their 5th trip into the red zone. Normally, by now, they'd be looking for their 5th touchdown. Instead, they're looking for number 2 that would tie the game. Bird, maybe a yard, and that's it. And another injury. McDougal is down for Maryland. Boy, and he's an obvious discomfort. The defense against Navy has to stay on the field for so long.
And you know, that's why they should have taken advantage of more the opportunities they had. I think back to the second quarter on the one pass and the one interception that was thrown by Jamar Robinson. I thought a poor call, because at that point, remember, they had 17 rushes for 169 yards.
Well, how's this for a stat? Since the middle of the first quarter, Navy's time of possession over Maryland, 19 minutes and 43 seconds to 3 minutes and 55 seconds. A lot of coaches discount time of possession. They say, well, really, in the whole scheme of things, it doesn't mean anything. This does. When you have that big an edge, and maybe we're seeing the result of it right now, the Maryland defense is worn to a frazzle.
And again, last year, Fridgen had to play 24 freshmen. So he was hoping he'd have some depth and some better play from a lot more folks out there. But when you're on the field that long, in the first game of the season, you're really not seasoned up yet.
In this heat.
Yeah.
It's 85 degrees. Navy has an advantage 34-7 in plays, and on back-to-back plays, Antoine Perez and Dexter McDougal, 2 starting members of the secondary right now, have had to walk off the field very slowly. Perez is back on the field now. And here's what Navy has done with the ball. The worst drive so far is 43 yards, and that's still going. Before that, the least amount of yards they racked up was 52. They missed a field goal for that one. Teach to the 14-yard line. They have to go inside the 9.
I tell you what, who's working? Everybody's working hard on that defense today. But the 2 defensive tackles and Alex Wojak in the middle, they're covering some ground. They're every down. They're getting chopped. They're getting cut. Somebody's on their ankles.
Quint just told us that Wojak went off with cramps, the middle linebacker. He's their star on defense.
Not surprised. I'm surprised he's been out there as long as he has.
Yeah, me too. Big third down here. Dobbs with the pitch. Green inside the 5 to the 4. First and goal. They are just relentlessly attacking the edge.
Just watch now the slot back. Watch number 20 now. Watch how the slot back, he breaks down and then he goes and he cuts the ankles. Look at that. That's just great execution. You know, as a defender, you just get tired of somebody nagging at your ankles. You know, leave me alone.
Especially if you're a defensive lineman and you were the size of that blocker in the 7th grade. Dobbs to the goal line. No signal yet. The linesmen come in from the edge. Maryland says they got the ball, and they do. Holy cow. How many times can Navy fumble at the goal line?
As a ball carrier, once I saw Dobbs turn it up into the field, knowing how he had fumbled going in at halftime, I thought to myself, I guarantee you he is covering this football up hard. But he didn't. One hand, the hat on the football. When you turn north like that and you're in a territory where there's a lot of helmets around you, you got to have 2 hands. You got to be strong. You must protect the football, the hat right on the ball.
Navy, one time after another, moving the football. Maryland, one time after another, standing tall at the goal line.
Ricky Dobbs has to learn how to protect the football better with his shoulder pads. He's got to drop the shoulder pad and protect the football.
The last 3 possessions, Navy has fumbled at the 6, at the 2, and at the 1. Tough to beat somebody when you do that.
Just uncharacteristic of this Navy football team and what they do. Now, I will say this. Maryland last year, early in the season, they were terrible on the turnovers. The last 5 games, they were +5. So they've trended and continued to give great effort. All right, same time code here. I mean, he is not. That ball has not crossed the plane. This is the same time code coming out of our truck, so that you can see where the ball has come out, and clearly, the ball has not crossed that goal line.
And if you're not familiar with the term time code, it simply means the plays are synchronized, so one is not ahead of the other. They down to 100th of a second.
First down, Maryland.
If you're Navy, you're starting to get frustrated, and if you're Maryland, you're starting to feel real good about yourself. Well, keep in mind, Maryland jumped on top 14-0. They have not done a whole lot on offense since then. Darrell Scott is the tailback. They go out on a little bubble screen and pick up about 5.
They haven't done anything, Mike, because they haven't had the football, right?
That's true.
So you've got a fresh Navy defense and has done well on the inside the previous 2 possessions. So the front 7 inside have done well. Very nice call there by James Franklin to get the ball outside away from that pressure.
Torrey Smith, the all-conference wide receiver, makes the catch. His first of the day, and how's that for a call? Out of the shadow of your own goalpost, you come out throwing. Wants to come out throwing again, and this time he goes to Adrian Cannon. And Cannon out close to the first down. Let's check in with Reese Davis. Reese.
All right, Mike, got a Taco Bell studio update for you. This from a high school game on ESPNU. Pickerington Central from Ohio against Oscar Smith from Chesapeake, Virginia. This is Tamani Carter from Pickerington Central. He is considering Arizona, Minnesota, Iowa, and Stanford, and all of them, I'm sure, impressed with his kickoff return expertise. End-to-end there, and right now, Pickerington Central with a 16-14 lead on Oscar Smith.
All right, Reese, thanks very much. Have another injured player down. It's time for Navy, as Maryland did get the first down on that last pass play out at the 12. Have not been able to determine the young man's number as yet. We're going to look here. It's the defensive end Billy Yarbrough out of Columbia, South Carolina. One of those players that just gives you everything he's got on every play, and he looks like he's going to be all right.
A high motor guy. Coaches really respect his leadership ability on the football field.
So Maryland trying to pass its way out of trouble. And Robinson will go to the shotgun. And then it's a quarterback draw. And Robinson across the 30, 35, near the 40. Jamar Robinson up the middle for 27 yards.
Mike, I had mentioned to you that the front seven, the interior had been strong, but look at how they had spread them out. You've got people now out of position. Got to attack here. You got to get in the hole. You can't allow someone with the legs and the speed of Robinson and the vision of Robinson to run at you while you're flat-footed.
He's had a good game, Craig. 7 carries, 82 yards.
Number 76, 5-yard penalty. First down.
R.J. Dill called for the false start, and that'll make it 1st and 15.
Sounds like the beginning of a marketing opportunity. R.J. Dill. That's a pretty good name.
Why don't you speak to him about it?
I should. You never know. The more you can do in life.
Amen. First flag the Terps have incurred today. Scott trying to pick his way to the outside. Turns a corner. Scott's got a first down and more across midfield. No, check it. It's going to be short. Gain of 7 on 1st and 15.
Yeah, that time R.J. Dill, 76. He gets outside. Watch the big fella turn the corner. And the vision. Darrell Scott getting around there. Just gets his foot on that white.
Dill handing out a little punishment on that one.
Sure did.
Maryland averaging for 9 yards a play. Problem is, Navy's had the ball most of the game. Scott dragged down in the backfield that time. Navy got penetration with Tyler Simmons. Simmons was the guy they were counting on for their defense, coming back as the leading tackler among all the linebackers, and then he went and had a skiing accident. Missed spring practice with broken ribs, a lacerated spleen. That just sounds awful. Lacerated anything isn't good.
Big play here.
3rd and 7 for the Terps, who have hit 2 passes on this drive. Robinson flushed, and they got him back at the 31-yard line. French just would not let go. Bry French and Jabari Tawani. Tawani is their best down lineman. And they put the pressure on Robinson.
You know what? Bry French, 50, stays home, doesn't get lulled in, sucked in. If French had fallen into the middle of that field, Robinson would have went around the corner for a big gain.
First time Navy has knocked Maryland back behind the line of scrimmage, 11 yards on that play. They lost. And Baltz, who had a tremendous punt his first time, gets off another good one. Myers with an 8-yard return after a punt of 52. 5:07 to go third quarter. Still a 7-point ball game. Welcome back to ESPN College Football, presented by Cars.com. And there goes Jones. Greg Jones, the wideout. yards.
I have to tell you, when the play first started, it was slow to develop, which is usually the kiss of death on a reverse. Look how slow it is. I thought he was tardy. He dropped it.
Almost dropped it.
But look at the speed of Jones. Ran right past red jerseys. That's fresh legs for you.
Another big play, and they're knocking on the door of the red zone again. Dobbs on the keeper, pitches it back. Inside the 20 goes G.G. Green. Well, you wanted to think perhaps the Navy coaching staff would be prone to go in and yell at Ricky Dobbs for the mistakes he's made today. But Ken Neomatalolo told a story about last year. He wanted to go in and yell at him at halftime of the SMU game because he fumbled a couple of times. He found him reading the Bible in front of his locker. He says, you know how hard it is to yell at a kid who's reading a Bible in front of his locker? I just bent over and said, try not to fumble anymore, would you? Dobbs looking, and instead runs and out of bounds inside the 15.
Guy comes over, coach comes over to you, scream at you, and he looks, Coach, have you ever heard of a great character, a guy named Paul? Neomatalolo. He's showing confidence in his quarterback. Ricky Dobbs may have really hurt his chances for the Heisman today, but at this point, he's just looking for a W.
I'll bet it's the furthest thing from his mind right now. Stukel and Howell are in at running back. Whatever comes, but they want an undefeated season. They think they can do it. Dobbs on the quarterback keeper. He'll have a first down near the 12-yard line.
Well, did you see two hands on the football that time?
Yes, I did.
On either end of the pigskin?
May see it again, too.
You know, not a whole lot there. That was a great play by Moten, the defense. And there's a lot of hats around that football. I'm telling you, folks, this is an intense football game.
Terps barely got one player off and another on 1st and 10. And now Maryland's going to have to use a timeout on defense, which never makes the coaching staff happy. 3:16 to go, third quarter. Navy driving again, but they're still down by a touchdown. Well, folks love the Ravens here, but they will never forget the Baltimore Colts, and that's part of the Sports Legends Museum at Camden Yards, all the Colt memorabilia. Fullback Vince Murray. It's a couple, then is pushed back. Navy has gotten into the red zone, Craig, every time they've had the ball. Every time.
Well, we'll update that. And one score. Now that's 51 rushes for 330, 331 yards. They're on pace for 475 yards in this football game on the ground, but only 7 points.
There's that fake start by Green again. Fumbles have really killed Navy's chances so far today. Dobbs. Boy, covered that one up, didn't he? He looked like Larry Zonka with 2 arms around the ball.
I thought he covered the last one up.
Yeah.
But
well, sometimes you just got to tip your hat to the other guy for making a play.
Mike, that is a great point. So many times we say, hey, it's a ball carrier's fault. But you're right, Mike. I mean, the great effort by Maryland's defense when they had to suck it up.
Like the play Moten made coming over the top. I mean, that's just brilliant athleticism. 1st and goal. Boy, how do you keep him out of the end zone 4 times from here unless they help? Dobbs. Touchdown. If Navy loses this game, they will look back at the times they turned it over, but not this time.
Ryan Bass scored 64. Did you see him come down? Former tight end. They say he's coming on. I'd say he just decleated somebody. That was a great smack in the mouth to give the quarterback a chance to get to the end zone.
Joe Buckley will attempt to tie it. (14-14), 1 minute 52 seconds to go, 3rd quarter. Can Maryland's offense get on track? They jumped to a 14-0 lead. They haven't scored since. Greg James said he had crab cakes for breakfast, Maryland crab cakes for lunch, Maryland crab cakes for a snack, and he's got a bag full to go with him to the airport tonight.
Yeah, because I don't think the airlines will be serving crab cakes.
Hey, guarantee you that one.
Thinking ahead. Or if they are, they would be mighty smelling.
Teague will kick to the dangerous Torrey Smith, who averaged almost 26 yards a return a year ago. Good kick this time, back to the 2. Let's check in with Reese Davis.
Mike, every week we honor the ESPN AT&T All-America Player of the Week, and certainly North Carolina quarterback T.J. Yates is worthy of consideration. Led a valiant comeback by the Tar Heels that fell just short against LSU, threw for more than 400 yards and 3 touchdowns. All you have to do, text the word VOTE to 345-345 on your mobile phone. Not only cast your vote, but you enter for a chance to win a trip to the national championship game in January.
Maryland takes over at the 21-yard line. Meggett dives out to about the 28. To me, this offensive series is important twofold. Maryland needs to get something going, and they have to stay on the field to give the defense some kind of rest.
Well, since they started this game up 14-0, Maryland 338 yards for Navy to 79 for Maryland. This has just been all about Navy's offense.
That ball was very close to hitting the ground in front of Torrey Smith, but he came up with it, and it will be enough for a first down for the Terps.
And when they were up 14-0, they did it running the football. That offensive line was dominating. Darrell Scott was doing his thing. Robinson with his legs. The 1 interception, the first time they threw the football, when they didn't need to throw it, really turned this game.
And we've seen much more of Meggett than Scott since then. End around Smith. Nothing doing. Navy doesn't make those kind of mistakes. Wyatt Middleton stays home and makes the tackle.
Yeah, and Allberger on the outside, 31, he's there. Is that the first time we've said the name Torrey Smith today?
Well, he caught a couple of short passes.
Just a little short.
That's
yeah, I mean, it's basically, here's a guy that averaged 183 all-purpose yards last year.
Yeah.
He's not been chewing up grass today.
He's their playmaker. Navy shows blitz. And they come with it. Robinson. Oh, was his knee down? That pass is incomplete. That looked very, very close to a sack. The pressure was coming from Bry French, and that's what the Navy coaches are saying. His knee was down.
What a fantastic athlete this guy is. No.
Oh, jeez. What an effort by Robinson. That's as close as it gets.
That gives you a little feel for just how much upside Jamar Robinson has athletically.
The Navy
Now, the
head coach is challenging the spot of the ball on the field.
Now, the Navy coaching staff is going to challenge it because they thought it was close enough. But it is so close, I don't know that you can overturn it. I don't know that it's indisputable.
Unless you take the guy in the shower and see if he's got a strawberry on his knee. Very close. Indisputable video evidence must be there. I mean, you can see a grass blade coming up, something that shows you that his knee touched. I just didn't see it there.
They only made the challenge after the replay was shown on the big boards at either end of the M&T Bank Stadium.
Maybe. He may have. On the first one, I was more looking at the second.
Me too.
Because you see some of that black rubber that's in this turf kind of pop up when on the first one. I tell you, I think he hit the ground.
Boy, that's close.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands.
Indisputable video evidence must be in hand.
And if we're playing this game in College Park or we're playing this game at Navy, who knows if it'll be replayed, but we're playing at an independent site. So they have no skin in the game. And that cost Navy a timeout.
And really what Niumatalolo was trying to preserve there was field position, right? I mean, he's wanting to get these guys in a real long third.
As a result of the challenge, Navy is charged with a timeout. It's a 30-second timeout. They have 2 remaining in the game.
Maryland still faces a 3rd and long from its own 32-yard line.
Containment by the outside rushers at Navy to keep Robinson in the middle of the field. Very important.
They've only hit on 1 out of 3 third downs today. Robinson, quarterback draw. He'll be short. They got him at the 39-yard line. Very, very conservative call by the Terps, and Jabari Tawani tracked him down.
But they put their fate in the feet of Robinson. And and to me, I'm like you, Darrell Scott early on in this football game in 08, an all ACC 1,200-yard rusher. Of course,
he looked special, didn't he?
Yeah.
End of the 3rd quarter, we are tied in Baltimore at 14. Start the 4th quarter. Baltz to punt to Gary Myers. The last thing Maryland wanted to do was give it right back to Navy. Another high floater. Baltz, fair catch. Navy will start from the 15. And now for today's weekend menu, served to you by Applebee's as we finish a great weekend here in Baltimore. Florida State, Oklahoma on ABC at 3:30. Miami, Ohio State. These are all national championship rematches, by the way. Penn State, #1 Alabama. And then Craig and I will have Oregon and Tennessee on Saturday night on ESPN2. Hope you'll join us for that. Oregon, without its starting running back, racked up 72 in its first game.
Oregon's a talented football team, but they're going in to Knoxville, Tennessee on a night game. SEC atmosphere. A lot of fun to watch that game.
Navy starts from the 15. Dobbs under pressure down the middle. Wide open. Green out to the 35, and he's upset that he went down because he could have gotten another 15 yards out of that had he maintained his balance. The occasional pass is a huge weapon for Navy.
Ooh, that was the slide back. He was on the left side. And so you get a little motion going right. Linebackers, their eyes are caught in the backfield. You can't see it all.
Now everybody looks to the sideline to get the play. Navy has come from behind, down 14-0 to tie it. Dobbs again. Throws tipped incomplete into the hands of Greg Jones. It may have been tipped just before it got to him.
Yeah, in our conversations and talking with the coaching staff, Ivan Jasper, the offensive coordinator, said, hey, we'd like to throw 15 to 20 times per game. I mean, that shows they got confidence. When you're running for about 450, you might want to tweak that number down a little bit.
But they have to have the ability to throw. Dobbs, wrapped up in a hurry by Drew Gloucester, the defensive end, number 15, who read that option very, very well.
Now here's why he kept the ball. Look outside. There you go. Look at this. You see that? Wojak's out there. Trenton Hughes is out there. He didn't have the corner. Don't pitch it. Just eat the play.
Third and long. Stukel is in as a running back along with Howell, 33. And Murray, the fullback, 47. And Dobbs has to use the timeout. That's their second here in the half. And we see how valuable timeouts were. Just go back to the end of the first half when Navy didn't have one. 13:27 left in this game. Navy facing a third and long. Dobbs to throw. Screen back to Jones. Got one block. Needs another. Got up to the 43-yard line. They needed to reach the 45. Navy has not punted. Do you punt here?
Yes. Don't you think? I mean, because your defense has been playing extremely well.
I do, but this is Navy. They go for it as much or more than anybody. Delahook will come on to kick. He was the top 25 in the country last year, averaging 43.1. And Tony Logan is deep to receive. He waits at the Maryland 15. Navy showing some discretion here. Delahook, poor kick. High and short, taken by Logan. Breaks a tackle. Beats the kicker. And Logan never saw the man that tackled him down at the 15-yard line. Tre'Vase Bush came from nowhere and made the tackle. A terrible punt of 31 yards, a return of 59.
And the coverage team just didn't realize it was a short punt, so they had not adjusted their shots down to the punt returner. Again, Mike, this entire football game, the Maryland football team has not given up. Started out 14-0, fell behind in the momentum category, and every time somebody stepped up making a play.
Redshirt freshman Danny O'Brien out of Kernersville, North Carolina, comes in at quarterback for Maryland. The ball's fumbled. Navy's got a shot at it. Meggett couldn't hold the handoff, and Navy has it. Wyatt Middleton comes out with it. Holy cow. So they put in a new quarterback, Danny O'Brien, a pocket passer. What a time to do it, Craig James.
I don't buy that. I don't buy that. You're in the heat of battle, a very intense rivalry game going on, and your quarterback sat over there the whole time, this cold guy.
You know as well as anybody, it is the quarterback's job to put the ball in a running back's gut, and he handed that ball off low.
Everything changes. The dynamics, you've got a great big play that comes your way. I just don't agree with that substitution.
An unbelievable turn of events, advantage, Navy, and the fullback Vince Murray goes up the middle. That was a huge lift for Maryland to get that great punt return, and then they turn it over on the first play from scrimmage. I know you want to get the redshirt freshman some experience, but boy, what a tough place to put him in. Dobbs, nobody home, and he gets killed.
Blown play there. Blown play there. The fullback went the wrong direction. Didn't have a fake or an option for his fullback to give the ball.
Now, from everything we know, Robinson is not injured. This was a coach's decision. We'll try to check on that for you. Now Navy facing a 3rd and 6. Maryland's defense trying to stand tall. They show blitz. Dobbs flushed, no way. Joe Villano got him from behind, and Villano's made some big plays this afternoon. He is not nearly as heralded as A.J. Francis, the other tackle. And Dobbs very slow to get up.
Don Brown's defensive coordinator, his unit today has played outstanding with a lot of guts and character and courage, being on the field as long as they've been on the field, as many turnovers as they've created for their team.
Now here we go again with Delahook kicking to Logan. A poor low line drive 31-yard kick the last time. And the huge return. But very short and out of bounds at midfield. Well, we had 63 plays without a punt for Navy. Now we had 2 straight. 29-yard kick. Who will play quarterback for Maryland? Baltimore hosting a number of historic ships. That's the USS Constellation, the last all-sail ship built by the Navy, dating to 1855, and the U.S. Coast Guard cutter Taney, the last surviving warship from Pearl Harbor. Robinson back in at quarterback. Fakes the pass and takes off. And Robinson down to the 34. So our question was answered. There apparently was nothing wrong with Robinson. They were just trying to get Danny O'Brien some game experience. But boy, what an odd time to do it.
I just can't imagine that that's when they chose to get him game experience. I believe they had a feeling they needed some kind of change, and they went with a quarterback change, because that's not the place and the time for game time experience.
Well, they just changed the change then.
Who's on
Robinson is back at the 34. Meggett. Big hole off the left side. 20, 15, 13-yard line. We have seen Meggett instead of Darrell Scott for the majority of the ballgame. After Scott played very well early, he has a wrap on one of his arms, but we have been given no injury report, and Meggett has just gone over the 100-yard mark.
And again, what's the difference? We see the Maryland offensive line, like the first quarter on that play, getting into the Navy defense lineman and not getting off. And so that running game was so special early on. Get back to it. Do what you can do best.
Well, here's an answer to another question. Darrell Scott is back in. First down from the 12. Scott, nice cutback. Spun down at the 8-yard line.
You know, I've tried something a little different here today, Mike. I'm going to do it throughout the season. I've been on this Twitter deal. I've been tweeting during the game, Craig James 32, and everybody's saying how impressed they are with Maryland's effort. You know, I think they're surprised because people looked at this Maryland football team that had lost 10 games last year and assumed they were not a good ball club. Well, what they've seen is a very strong, fast, big team with a lot of character.
DJ Adams, number 10, is in for the first time. He is a short yardage power guy. Keeping those legs moving down to about the 6-yard line. Caleb King, the linebacker, stands him up there. Approaching the 8.5-minute mark.
Yeah. You know, one of the things that you have to look at here, well, two things. One, you've got Scott in there, I believe, and you've got a chance to run the ball strong up the middle of the field. Or you've got the legs of Jamar Robinson to make a play on the outside.
3rd and 5. Scott, the running back. Robinson will go to the gun. Looks to the end zone, throws the fade, and throws it way out of bounds. Now this will be interesting because Travis Baltz will come on to try a field goal. He has never tried a field goal in college. Nick Ferrara, the regular place kicker, is hurt. Here's Baltz in pregame, and he had some trouble. Fortunately for him, this is a relatively easy attempt, 24 yards. He kicked 10 in high school. Ferrara with a groin pull on the sideline. All he can do is root for the punter, Travis Baltz. And Baltz comes through to give Maryland a 17-14 lead.
Well, it's a team effort to win a football game. You've lost your kicker, Ferrara, so Baltz has to step up. Everybody on Maryland's team has stepped up today to keep them in this game and now ahead.
17-14, Maryland on top. 7 minutes, 50 seconds to go in this ball game. Teach is deep from the 9 to the 30. Navy 70 yards away from regaining the lead. Let's take a look back at the Dodge Ram drive recap.
I thought it was critical. Jamar Robinson comes back into the game after a brief appearance with a fumble by O'Brien, his backup. Give the ball to your playmakers. Megan on the ground. A nice way to come back answering the change at quarterback.
And then Travis Baltz kicks his first college field goal because the regular field goal kicker is hurt and Maryland has the lead. Dobbs and Green and Bird and Murray, the 4 prime ball carriers for Navy. Can they get it done in the last 7:45? Dobbs will lose a yard. Maryland has adjusted well. Hartsfield and Anderson made tackles.
It's all about the inside. If folks do their job and use their hands and do their own responsibility individually, the team does well.
68 plays. They have nearly doubled up Navy or Maryland, and yet they trail. Teach only gets about 3. It'll be 3rd and 8.
And just an outstanding play there on the inside of Kerr. I mean, 69 gets blocked, comes off his block, and tackles the fullback.
Navy, equal opportunity runners, particularly they have punished the middle today. Murray has had another good ball game. Taking up a lot of time here. 6:37 and counting. Dobbs can't pitch it. Breaks a couple of tackles, picks up a couple of yards. Flag is down. Now, either that's the area where you're either going to see a hold or somebody got a hold of a face mask. And that would be a huge play.
Personal foul, grasping the face mask on the defense.
Oh, boy.
15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Maryland had him stopped, and somebody grabbed a face mask.
And you know why they grabbed the face mask? Because Ricky Dobbs was giving great effort. You know what? If Dobbs goes down and just gives up on the play, the face mask never occurs.
Well, the fans are booing because they see the replay. Any part of the helmet is a penalty. Yeah, it sure did. Try to go up the middle again, and Maryland has been very stalwart there.
It's happening right now on the inside. Those two defensive tackles, Milano, Francis, Kerr, three of these guys in there getting off the guard's block.
Yeah, they're sure shutting it down.
So the Dobbs read says give it to the fullback because that's where it's supposed to go. But those defensive tackles are coming off, making the play.
Dobbs to the short side. This is going to pick up yards with Green. G.G. Green down to the 30. You mentioned a couple of plays ago, partner, you got to do your job. You have to take care of your assignment. As another Navy player is hurt, this is Matt Malloy, the right tackle. But you can't do more than you're supposed to. You can't do somebody else's job. Take a look at today's Bud Light playbook. What do you have?
Well, okay, this last play, don't do anything more than you're supposed to, but you get caught looking inside. Look inside here. Everybody was back into the fullback in the middle of the field, and you lost your middle linebacker. You lost the alley. Nobody was there. Try to go back and show you what I'm talking about. There's your middle linebacker, okay? Let's see what happens when they all see the fullback. They're inside, and when you're in the outside, there's a huge alley. When I say alley, that means somebody coming up between the wide guy, the corner, and the inside part of the line. Filling that alley, getting up in that lane where that pitch or that running lane can be.
And what you were saying, Wojak did his job. His responsibility on that play, that particular defense, was the fullback. That's where he's supposed to be. He can't worry about the quarterback. He can't worry about the pitchman. He had his guy.
But the safety or whoever was responsible for coming up to the line of scrimmage and meeting the ball was not there.
Malloy, the injured player, a kid with a lot of experience. 6'3", 260 from Berlin, Maryland. So this is a big game for him, getting to play in front of the home folks. Well, we were wondering what Ken Niumatalolo's daughter was going to wear. And she goes to Maryland. She is wearing Navy gear. And she is also a defender on Maryland's women's lacrosse team. She just started playing lacrosse in high school. The coach said he wore red when he went to the Maryland lacrosse games to support his daughter's teams. And he was wondering what she was going to do today. Would she be wearing Maryland red or Navy white, blue, and gold? And she came out all decked out in Navy gear.
She looks good. She's poised. Is she torn? She's pulling for daddy.
You betcha. First down, Navy. Ryan Bassford, number 64, out of Jacksonville, Florida, junior, has moved into that right tackle spot from Matt Malloy.
And remember, Bassford had a really good blocking down on the touchdown earlier today, so he's a good player.
Teaches the fullback. And they'll whistle this play dead.
False start. Offense, number 17. 5-yard penalty. Touchdown.
Going to call that on Mike Stukel. Stukel is in there with Howell. They have played 4 of those slot backs today. Stukel, Howell, Green, and Bird. Aaron Santiago was going to be one of the starters, but he has been bothered with a hamstring. 1st and 15 now. to the short side. Howell. Big gain. Picked up about 13 yards. He's a 5'8" sophomore from Hatfield, Pennsylvania.
John Dowd, 68, the right guard. His block down the line, blowing up folks. I mean, they're in the receiving mode right now, Maryland's defense. They forgot the attack part.
Third and short. Second and short, excuse me. Dobbs. Flag is down.
False start. Offense. Number 4. 5 yards. Second down.
Dobbs leaning forward.
You don't see that often, do you?
No. I think the center, Eric Douglas, was wondering what was going on, too.
Quick shout out to the men and women around the world watching this game, protecting us, our military. I know they're watching. Thanks for what you do.
Thank you for everything. Teach. Down to the 26.5-yard line. They have to get just outside the 24. And obviously, with the pace of this drive, this is Navy's shot right now. They only have one timeout left. If they give up the football and Maryland gets a first down, it's over. Navy has run 74 plays, twice as many as Maryland. None more important than this one. Third down. Dobbs, first down and more. Inside the 20 to the 17.
Offense, the quarterback fakes it to the fullback and then follows him in the hole. So everybody else is going to their role, their responsibility. Number 1, Adrian Moten overruns the quarterback in the hole, and it's a nice game.
Good block by Murray after the fake. First down, midshipman. Fullback to the 11. Murray runs hard, doesn't he? They are well within field goal range. 8 players with more than 50 yards rushing. You and Eric Dickerson never had 6 other guys with you, did you?
Well, Eric and I would not have survived in this offense because neither one of us wanted to block.
Yeah, but at least you were willing.
And I'm honest.
Timeout with 3:02 to go in the ball game. Ready for some football? Monday Night Football kicks off next week. We have a doubleheader for you. First at 7 Eastern, Ray Rice and the Ravens take on Mark Sanchez and the Jets. They were 1 win away from the Super Bowl a year ago. 2 of the favorites in the AFC. Then at 10:15, Phillip Rivers and the Chargers against Matt Castle and the Chiefs. Monday Night Football next week on ESPN. Coverage begins at 5 with Monday Night Countdown, served by Applebee's. We all love baseball. We love all the other sports, the Olympics and all that stuff. But when football season starts, it's special, isn't it?
It is. And how about Mark Sanchez? Welcome back to the 10th season. Welcome to the 10th season and facing a fresh Ray Lewis. Right?
Yeah, thank you so much. Guy who can still get it done.
Yes, great player.
Navy driving, down by 3. Dobbs, another keeper, knocked back. Just got inside the 10. It'll be about 1.5 yards to go for a first down. And that clock just ticking away.
And you know what? I just can't say enough about the defensive tackles of Maryland. And I know they've given up some big plays inside, but they continue to fight. You've seen the time of possession of this football game. Maryland's defense has been on the field the entire ball game, yet they still are competing.
They're approaching 80 plays on defense. 80. And the time of possession is ridiculous.
A lot of territory out here on this left side.
They have shown a tendency to go the other way. This time, Dobbs straight ahead. Second effort, he appears to have the first down inside the 8. Talked about Navy's timeouts. They only have one chance to stop it, but Maryland only has one timeout left. And if Navy continues to bleed the clock and eventually gets a touchdown, Maryland may have no time left to play with.
What has Maryland's defense done this entire football game in the red zone?
Turnovers.
Amen.
One after the other after the other. I mean, Navy could have easily scored 5 times in this game. Easily. Except for the Maryland defense. Now they will measure. First and goal. 2:12 left. Maryland has taken the lead. Ralph Regin suffered through one of the worst years of his life a year ago. They tried to buy out his contract after the season. He's fighting for his job this year. Maryland fighting to regain respect. Down to about the 4. G.G. Green. They'll mark him out at the 3. Cameron Chisholm, the corner, knocked him out of bounds.
And down here, the field gets tighter, less to cover defensively. This is where Maryland's defense has had a lot of success inside the 5-yard line, and they're a lot stronger at the point of attack.
They haven't run to the left forever. It's been up the middle or to the right, even if the right is the short side.
I drew that left side for a reason.
I was going to say, when do you go, okay, we got the wide side of the field, we got all this speed, it's time to stretch him out and see if we can get the corner. Dobbs has had his problems. One of them was the play by Moten, which was brilliant. Then Dobbs, another fumble. That ended the half. Then he gets down to the 1, fumbles again. Highly uncharacteristic of the Heisman candidate.
And of a football team that was number 7 in the country in fewest turnovers. They only had 14 last year. But down here, less to cover. A far more aggressive Maryland defense that gets more hats around the ball.
This will be the 13th play of this drive. They've all been runs. Dobbs again. Stood straight up this time. Good play by Gloucester, who came from behind.
There you go. You just got a lot more bodies around the football when you get to this point here. I don't believe Navy's thinking field goal here at all, because they know that down here they've got to capitalize, and they've got to get push on the inside, at least a stalemate. They can't allow any penetration on the interior of the defensive line.
They missed one earlier, remember. And now they got 2 guys moving at once. That's a penalty. That thing looked like it was going to be messed up from the start as Greg Jones was trying to get to the other side. John McCauley came in as a fullback, as a blocker, and they had 2 guys in motion.
Mike, there's a part of me that believes this might help Navy's offense, because it gives them a little bit more territory and forces Maryland to cover some more ground out there.
Buckley keeping the leg warm. He has missed from 32. And again, they go back to the right. Dobbs! Just short. The clock continues to run. Holy cow, they're going to mark it inside the 1. And did Navy use this last timeout? Well, there's an injured player down. Alexia looking on.
There's the pull. The fullback was not there. Dobbs does the right deal. Look at 2 hands on the football.
Obviously, they feel they have found something off right guard and right tackle. They have just gone back to it time after time after time.
Even after they lost their right tackle. So they've shifted a lot of offensive linemen around. They are right-handed. They felt good that direction. And I think Niamakalolo says, hey, We're here to win. Let's go for it. This is an ACC team we're up against.
4th down, less than a yard. Murray is the fullback.
Remember the last time they had this, Mike, you had the great block down by Ryan Basford to the right side.
Timeout. Maryland.
And now Navy will spend that timeout. Ralph Friedgen exercised over something with 37 seconds left to go. Well, you have Murray, who's had an outstanding game at fullback. You've got the All-American candidate Dobbs. You've got Green and Bird, both of whom have had very good runs. Anything tell you it's one of these guys? I mean, do you like Dobbs simply because he's the leader?
I think it just puts more blockers in front of him. And so it's basically saying we're going to go over here like we did on last time. We're blocking down. We're having a power game up inside there. Let the quarterback follow the fullback and see if he can't get across.
Joe Buckley had a 32-yard field goal try early in the ball game and missed it. Otherwise, we would be tied at 17. This is the 82nd play that Navy will run. 82. Dobbs getting the information from upstairs. This is the game, folks. To the wide side, Dobbs did not make it. Perez and Tate, the safeties who were right at the line of scrimmage, they finally went back to the left side and Maryland stoned it.
The same play that worked to the right, they line up to the left side. The block down is there, but Perez, the hardest hitter in the secondary, along with his secondary mate Tate, they attacked the line of scrimmage. They went to the football. Maryland's defense did an unbelievable job today of coming in 7 red zone trips by Navy's offense and 5 times coming away empty.
Unbelievable. And the Maryland fans are on their feet. The Navy fans are crushed. 34 seconds to go. Navy has to hope for a miracle. That's it. Well, they're going to take a look at this, but I think it was an open and shut case that Dobbs was stopped short.
Two hands.
Clearly did not get in.
See Wojak getting up in there? I mean, it's just...
Now, the thing that complicates it down here, you can end up lying on top of somebody. And if you are on top of another player, by rule, you are not down yet. But you never saw the ball pop across the goal line. But watch Dobbs.
There's absolutely zero, anything that's indisputable video evidence there to suggest that that's a touchdown.
Sticks it over the goal line. Of course, you can't hear the whistle. You don't know. They always have the old forward progress bailout to go to. Here's the call.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. First down.
It's the only call I can make.
So here's a football team that lost 10 times last season. Came in here, had to win this football game to set the tone for their season. Last year, they had 4 games with 4 points or less they lost by. I mean, it just was a bad run for them last year.
Now, Maryland's got to get the ball out of the end zone. That is the only thing that could really get them a safety here, and they would have to kick the ball away. So they have to make sure they get it out. And Navy uses its last timeout to stop the clock. Barring a Maryland fumble or a slip in the end zone, Maryland is going to win this game. Welcome back to ESPN College Football, presented by Cars.com. Maryland just has to stay out of its own end zone. And they do. Quarterback keeper by Robinson. Now the clock will run. Navy can no longer stop it. And now for today's Discover Card Player of the Game, junior David Megan. 8 carries, 105 yards, and a touchdown.
Well, partner, my vote, and I know I didn't have one in that, I'm thinking defense. I'm thinking Alex Wojak, Adrian Moten, Trenton Hughes, Kenny Tate, Cameron Chisholm, those defensive tackles that played their hearts out so Megan could get some love.
I mean, when is the last time you praised the defense that gave up, what, 450, 500 yards on the ground? But it's against an offense that you can't stop. You just want to slow it down. And it was just a great victory for the University of Maryland. Here's Quinn.
Good job,
Coach Friedgen, 4th and 1, game on the line. What was going through your mind?
Well, you won't believe this, but we discussed that play with that defense we wanted, because I knew they were going to run that play. They've been so successful doing it, and our kids just rose to the occasion. I tell you, our kids grew up a little bit today. They showed what it takes to win a football game.
How do you best describe your red zone defense?
Well, this is a good team, this Navy team, and our guys were fighting, scrapping. You know, it was a game whether they're going inside, outside. They were checking, we were checking. It was a real chess game with 2 coaches working hard and all the players working hard.
You're up 14-0. They tie it at 14 apiece. Seemed like you had no momentum. Where did you guys get the resolve?
Well, you know, I've been preaching to our kids all along what it takes to be 10-2 or 2-10. And it's a matter of wanting it more and fighting through the tough times, you know. Guys give up so easy today, you know, and I'm really proud of our kids with the way they hung in there and kept fighting. There's going to be an ebb and flow in every game. There's going to be good, there's going to be bad. That's why football is such a great game. You learn how to persevere, and if you persevere long enough, you win a football game.
Congratulations, Coach. Good start.
Thank you.
Quint, thank you. Time of possession, Navy 2-1 over Maryland. Again, it doesn't matter. What matters is turnovers, and that's what Maryland forced today.
And Friedgen talking about character and all those things, but it takes players to step up, players to do it on the field. That's what I saw from Maryland today. A team that wanted to win, a team that did not want to start off with a loss.
The final score here in Baltimore was Maryland 17, Navy 14. Coming up next, College Football Live. Then at 8, ESPN College Football Primetime. Number 3, Boise State. Number 10, Virginia Tech. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Craig James, Quinn Kessenich, and our entire crew, this is Mike Patrick. So long from Baltimore. And now we send you to College Football Live with Reese Davis.